Hello and welcome to everyone joining us via live stream. I'm Dr. Roderick Richmond, Interim Superintendent of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today for a very special event. Here in our district, we believe that laughter is good for the soul and for education. Comedy is more than just entertainment, it's an art form. And as many of you know, art is one of my 5 A's, a pillar of our commitment to a well-rounded, enriching education for every student. Some of Memphis's most talented and humorous individuals have walked the very halls of our schools. That legacy of creativity and expression is something we're proud of and something we're determined to grow. Our goal is to teach the craft and the business of entertainment. In short, we're here to educate and enlighten through the power of laughter. A huge thank you for our special guests today for sharing their time, talent, and expertise with our students and our community. You all are in for a real treat. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and get those questions ready. Greatness grows here.
Welcome, beautiful people. My name is Austin Townsend. I'm a senior at Whitehaven High School, the Whitehaven High School. Some of y'all don't really understand that. I'm also a varsity basketball player and a student leader. Today, I have the opportunity and the honor to interview and introduce a comedian, actor, father, and a writer, Mr. Kev on stage, Fredericks. Kev on stage, I just want to ask, I know you had a long tour. Just want to ask how you feeling after that.
I feel great. It was I think 47 shows over 5 months. Yeah, we started on January 2nd. I left my family on January 1st, and we was all over the world, 47 dates, 3 countries. It was fantastic though. I had a great time. It felt good to do something I love for a long period of time. And I'm also glad to be on summer break.
Sir, I hear you. No, I feel the same way. I'm really got sick of school, even though I love school when I love it, but right now I'm ready to relax and kick back.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to start it off a couple questions I got for you, general questions. When did you first realize that you were funny, and what do you remember about that moment?
Excuse me. The first time I remember being funny was when I was a little kid. I couldn't have been more than 5 or 6. And after church, I would make my mom and grandma and uncles and aunts laugh by like recreating whatever happened that Sunday. They'd be like, "Oh, do Sister Daniel's shout, or do this person's shout, or what the preacher say," and I would recreate that. And I realized that would buy me a little bit more time to stay up, to stay near the grown folks. So that's when I realized, oh, okay, there's some value here. Make people laugh. And I think I've been just chasing that high ever since.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand. Making people laugh is probably one of the best feelings that you will ever get. I know that I think I'm personally funny. I will hope some people agree. I know a lot of people think that you're funny. That's why you're at the level that you're at, the stage that you're at, the success that you're at. So I really appreciate you telling me that. I got another question for you. So how did your education, whether in school or outside of it, prepare you for a creative career like comedy?
I run my own business. So a lot of the things that I learned in school are, excuse me, I'm going to drink some water real quick, Austin. I'm sorry.
I hear you. Devil's mind's right here.
Simple as algebra, for example. If I sell, 1,000 tickets at $15, that's going to be $15,000. Okay. How many do I need to sell to make 30,000? Or how much is it going to cost me to fly X amount of people times 3 dates times hotel? And that's just an algebra. I learned how taxes work in my school. My economics teacher taught me how taxes work, which is a huge thing that I have to be concerned about. Just going to school and being responsible enough to be in class on time is valuable, because on the road, you got to be at the airport on time, the venue on time, sound check on time. So all of those things, all those tenets were valuable from school, and I used them in my day to day. And also, I played in the band in school. I did some theater in college, so I'm a stage performer, so that was valuable as well. So I think school helped me in a tremendous amount of ways.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I'm still working on the part you said about being on time. And I take algebra. I took algebra, so I should be good with numbers and get on time. But I'm still working on that. I be procrastinating. I'm working on it though. Trust me, trust me, trust me. But another thing, I just want to ask: in 2025, why is it important for students, parents, and our MSCS community to understand to use social media responsibly?
Oh wow, social media responsibly. I think, man, the internet is forever. So one of the things that I understand is, the way I felt in say 2015 and the way I feel now may have changed. However, the videos and thoughts that are put out into the atmosphere in 2015, somebody has that video, that post. So, it's taught me to be careful about what I put out in the world. And sometimes that means apologizing for past way of thinking and things like that. I think it's also taught me that, there's good things you can learn from it. Like social media is a big part of my job. So it can be helpful within reason. And then also sometimes you gotta put it away. You know what I mean? You take a break from it. I do as well. I go on walks or go to the gym and, I don't use my phone for social media. I think a healthy amount of breaks are as well.
Hell yeah, I totally agree, sir. I totally agree. Because I know a lot of times with my generation, it's a lot of things we just post or whatever, and we really don't really care about. Not me personally. I know I don't post nothing crazy. Because if my parents see it, I'm not really trying to hear that backlash. But I know a lot of
Right.
people don't really care, and I think it's a bad look. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I think
Yeah.
a lot of times we want things in our future, and we don't think about what we're doing now to help our future or how what we do now will affect it. So I agree, it's really important to, just use social media responsibly, be smart about what you're doing basically. So
Absolutely. I couldn't agree
yes,
more.
sir. Yes, sir. I have another question for you. So well, when did you realize that social media could be a source of income? What tips do you have for people who want to monetize their content?
Um, I'd say probably in 2009 or 10, maybe even 11. I remember watching YouTubers and the YouTube partner program. I'm not exactly sure on the year, but it was around that time between 2010 and 2013 for sure. People were posting videos and getting in the YouTube partner program and getting paid directly from YouTube. I remember people were getting TV shows and stuff like that. So I think at that point I realized even if I couldn't make my entire living from social media, I could at least cover some bills, or gas money. I remember when I first started, it didn't pay for anything. Then it started paying for gas and then maybe movies and cell phone, then eventually my mortgage. And then eventually I was able to build a company enough to hire other people. So it took some time and a lot of consistency, but yeah, I think it's early on I realized that I could monetize it.
So what platforms did you use other than like I know YouTube or like what groups were you in that helped you grow basically?
Uh Groups, uh you mean like different platforms or like people I've
Yeah,
worked
yeah, platforms. Yeah, that's a better way to explain it. Yeah,
I think for me, YouTube obviously was the first. It was the first platform that I was on, and it was just YouTube for some years as far as like monetizing. And then Facebook and Instagram came along, but those took much longer to monetize. But eventually, I've tried them all. I haven't been successful with them all, but I've at least gave them all the old college try, so to speak. But I think YouTube, Facebook, Instagram have probably been the most consistent over the years.
okay, okay, yeah. I think those are probably the most popular nowadays, other than TikTok. We love TikTok. I know I love TikTok. I just sit there and
Yeah.
doom scroll for hours and hours. So you know. So about entrepreneur experiences, how did you use social media success to branch out into other areas like books, TV, movies, Patreon, and live shows?
Yeah, I think the easiest part of social media that transition to my other businesses is, the word media in social media is, media, or the second word is media. And I became my own marketing platform, so for example, right now I just finished my tour and I'm editing the entire set and putting it on social media so that people who have never seen me live can see me. And the idea is, if they laugh at enough jokes that they see on social media, the next time I come to their city, they'll be more likely to purchase a ticket. So I think that's probably the best thing. Social media is like your commercial, your calling card, your way to advertise who you are, what you're about, make people laugh. You can also get paid from it directly from the platforms, but in most cases, it's more advantageous and better monetary possibilities outside of social media. So if I can convince the book publisher, for example, that I can sell because of how well my videos do or how well I sell tickets, that I might be a good candidate for selling books. So even if the idea is just, okay, if I'm a good salesman, I have a better chance of um, getting a publishing deal.
Now, that's how you got them right there.
I'm sorry, I missed the audio went out. I missed the first part of your question.
So I was saying that's how you got those books in the background on your sales.
Oh yeah. My wife and I had a podcast. With that book is a Marriage Be Hard is a New York Times bestseller. So being able to deliver that sort of notoriety is what led to the second book, which I'm hoping is also a New York Times bestseller. But even if it isn't, I'm on the list once. You only got to do it once to be able to say it.
We up there. We up there.
We up there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how can extracurricular clubs incentivize entrepreneurship?
I think I think you should be well rounded, right? I don't think everything has to be lead back to your business. I think some things you just do for your health, for exercise, for good mental health. But other things, like I played basketball in high school, and one of the things it taught me was, being a part of a team, being on time, being reliable, working well, being able to submit to leadership, being able to be a leader. So I think all those skills came from just, playing basketball for my school. I think, there's so many things that you learn in school that are then valuable in other facets of your life, and extracurricular activities are one of them. I volunteered in school as well. And I think even, it reminds me that to be a part of the community means you often should give back to your community. So I think that's probably the best way I can explain it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I probably have one of the most important questions of the day. And that'll be, who is the GOAT, LeBron or Michael Jordan?
LeBron James.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because we're done with the 90s.
GOAT. You said what?
I said because we're done with the 90s.
Done with the 90s?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm talking about. Thank you. LeBron Ramon James. So
LeBron Ramon James, man.
So
with the 90s. Absolutely.
Done. He's the GOAT. Best player of all time. So a little to kind of switch gears, a little bit about brand building. When did you know that it was time to fully commit to building a strong personal brand online?
Oh, I wouldn't even say that was a clear thought early on. I do remember, I wouldn't say that I knew this was brand building, so to speak, but I feel like pretty early I knew the value of being consistent and being who I was. That if you follow me on social media, you're likely to like the other stuff I have to offer. I think sometimes people get into a scenario where they try to create either a gimmick or a niche or something that doesn't really align with them. And I think it's easier to burn out and fall off from what you're doing. So I think I was always kind of committed to fully being myself, right? So that was a church kid, a clean comedian, clean in the sense of not cussing, but that didn't mean necessarily clean in like I only talked about church jokes. So I've pretty much been very consistent with that, where if you come see me at a show, you've gotten a taste of what my approach to comedy will be from social media, from my podcast. So if you like that, you'll like what you do when you come see me live. And I think that's important. It's like a good singer. If they sound good on the CD, or I guess CD, we don't listen to CDs anymore, but they sound good on the album, you're more likely to come see them live. But then you also want to make sure they sound good live. So it's up to me to deliver. If I can get you to engage with something else I do off of social media, it's important that I deliver as well, in whatever that is.
You were saying that being authentic and being yourself was the best way to get into success, basically.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Patrick Cloud, he said the best thing you can do is be aggressively genuine. So I think for me, it's just easier if you're pulling from a place of truth, right? Like, for example, prank videos do well on social media. I personally, I'm not a big fan of pranks. It would be hard for me, even if I knew I could get a lot of videos of views from doing pranks, it would be hard for me to do that because I don't think that's the content I should be making. So I stay away from that. I've seen that a lot of people, sometimes you get burnt out doing what you love, but people generally get burnt out faster doing something just chasing clicks or chasing money or whatever like that. So I think for me, it's been best to pull from my soul, so to speak. That's going to sound more like spooky than I mean it to.
Yes, sir. I totally agree, by the way. So I want to turn to the audience. Does the audience have any questions for Mr. Kev? All right. And I think I have another question. So how did you use social media your social media presence to support and grow your brand?
I mean, again, it's like my calling card. I think, it's the easiest way. Like back in the day, you had to, for a comedian, for example, you had to audition for Comic View or The Tonight Show. And that was the only way to get more people to notice you, is to book one of those TV shows. And then after that, a booker would say, oh, we'll pay for you to come to X, Y, and Z club or theater. But with social media, I can build up enough people that follow me and are interested in what I'm doing that I can bypass, the Tonight Show. I've had, 4 or 5 sold out tours, and I've never performed stand-up comedy on TV. And I've got friends who've had stand-up specials on TV or, late night sets on TV who haven't been able to put together a tour. So I think it's a perfect example of like the media landscape is changing, and how well you handle that change can determine how successful you are. I probably could continue on never doing traditional media because of the power of social media.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I got it. I got it. Question for Kev on stage. Did you enjoy your recent visit to Memphis?
I had a blast in Memphis. I hadn't been to Memphis in like 7 years. The audience was amazing. I had a really good show, really good time. I also was on Beale Street eating good. I ate BB Kings. I had catfish, live music. It was great. I wasn't even there for 24 hours, but I was telling my wife I want to come back and spend more time there, go to the Rain Motel and things like that, and eat. I eat good, live music, good people. Memphis owes me nothing.
I was just saying, I live here every day, so I know the type of vibes that are, especially downtown. So I appreciate you calling those out, pointing them out, because a lot of people, they had their own ideas of Memphis. So I got a question from Tracy Townsend. What are some life skills you and your wife are teaching your children?
My oldest son is just about to start an internship. We're trying to teach him the same things I was talking about: how to be dependable, reliable. They're very fortunate and privileged, but we also want them to work hard. Not be like, oh, my dad and my mom will do this. Like, that's not a way to live life. Treat people with kindness and respect, regardless of who they are or where they work or how you encounter them, because you don't know where you might be or where they might be. We're trying to teach them the value of a dollar, the value of good education. We'll see how good of a job we're doing later on in life, but I think so far we've got good kids, and I think they'll be okay. So what's some advice you'd give to aspiring artists to help them grow their talents? I think the internet is probably the greatest tool you can use. It's the great equalizer. If you're a singer, putting your talent on display at your fingertips is always valuable. You can use trending topics to kind of give your video a better chance of succeeding. So if there's a trending song on TikTok and you're a singer, do your version of it, do your cover of it. If you're a dancer, create a dance to it. If you're a comedian, what's the funny part of this? If you're a costume designer, what's some wardrobe you can do based off, say, the movie Barbie or Oppenheimer or Mission Impossible or whatever, Marvel. I think that's an easy way to get people's attention because they're looking for something else. And the internet tends to share things that are popular. So if you can kind of tag along for the popular part, and then when people become fans of you, you should always have something of your own on your page. So that's, if they're interested in you because you sing a cover of, say, a popular song, then you should also have a cover of or a song of you singing your own original music as well. So as you bring them into your sort of orbit, they can see that you're more than just these trending things. But it's just like the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, when they first got started, they sang covers because people know those songs. They're like, oh, y'all little boys can sing. They're interested. But then they introduce a cover and then some of their own music. And then eventually it's just their music. So social media really isn't any different than that model, which has existed for, 100 years.
Gotcha. I think we got another question. What suggestions do you have for young people interested in pursuing comedy as a profession?
I think develop your own voice and your point of view is probably the most important thing because there's so much content out in the world. The most important thing you can do is have your own point of view. So, for example, my sister-in-law does TikTok content. She does I'm Not a Lawyer, and she reviews legal cases. And a lot of people do this type of content now, but because she was one of the first to do it, she has her own unique point of view. People will, even if she's not the first one to cover a story, they'll wait to see her take. So I think the best thing you can do for comedy is obviously practice, especially if you're going to do stand-up comedy, practice, do as many open mics as you can, get as much stage time as you can. But the most important thing is develop your own point of view about the world. That way you're not just regurgitating the same joke that everybody else is saying. And that way, if people see your opinion last, they'll still be excited to see it because you should have or be able to say something different than everybody else has said. If you can do that consistently, you have a better chance of success.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got another question from Facebook. With you being in social media, how is your mental health? How do you sustain balance?
I think, to be honest, balance is a myth, I always say. I think you swing hard towards work and then you swing hard the other way. So, like I said, I was on tour for 5 months and that was extremely exhausting and tiring. But now the next 3 months, I won't be traveling as much, or I'll be traveling for vacation instead of work. So I think, and then when I do a tour, I'm like, oh, I might have done 47 cities sounds like a lot, and it is. So maybe I only need to do 30. Even if that means I make less money, it's probably better for my mental health. And obviously it sounds cliche, but eating right, working out, getting enough sleep, those are all important things to do as well. And I try my best to do all of those as much as possible.
Good. We got another question from Facebook. Kev, your book, Marriage Be Hard, is an absolute must read. What encouraged you and your wife to write together?
We kind of decided we wanted to write the book that we wish we had to read when we first got married. We felt like so many relationship books were cliche and people were talking about marriage, from the mountaintop that they climbed, and they're like, it felt like they were looking down or talking down to everybody else. And Melissa and I decided to write a book from the point of view of people who are still climbing the mountain. So we're not telling you about something we dealt with 20 years ago. We're telling you about an issue we dealt with 2 months ago and what we learned, so that hopefully you won't make that same mistake. So if you're climbing a mountain, you got a foothold, you'll be able to tell somebody, all right, put your hand right here. This part's safe. That's kind of the approach that we went for the book. And I think that resonated with people.
Have one more question. What are your plans after school, and how did this interview change your mindset about career options? Oh, this is for me, actually. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me think. My plans after school, I would hope to play college basketball, but I know I want to go into criminal justice, and I think that's something I've been interested in for a long time. Growing up watching Criminal Minds, growing up with two parents that are in criminal justice, I just think it's very important, like being able to help people who can't help themselves. So that'll be something I'm trying to figure out what I want to do exactly in criminal justice, but that is my plans after high school, and I'll be doing what I need to do now to get there. So
Yeah,
that is for sure my plans. Thank you for the question, by the way, and thank you to all our the people that viewed it and had questions. It was very interactive, and again, thank you guys. And Mr. Kev, is there any last words that you would like to add on?
I appreciate you, Austin. I love this. I'm like, man, this young man really got his head on straight. You did an amazing job. It's not easy to interview live. You take I mean, I'm very proud. I just met you, and I feel like you're doing a good job. The Memphis-Shelby County schools have done a good job with you. And you're the future of Memphis. The future, Austin.
So, and I was very honored to interview you because you seem like a pretty cool dude. And for when I see on TikTok, yeah, when I see on TikTok, you're funny. So I know when I used to see your videos, I would go on your page and I would just scroll and I'd be laughing for hours. I mean, this is like this is real. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being able to go back and forth with me. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll see you later. I really appreciate it. And you have a good rest of your day, sir.